Thanks, everyone. Let's make a start. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, one and all. It's Tuesday evening, 6 p.m, 20th of August 2024. I'd like to welcome you all here to the City of Canning's Ordinary Council meeting for the month of August, and also to those at home joining us on the live feed. I'd like to officially declare the meeting open and start by acknowledging the Whadjuk people, the traditional custodians of the land, and pay our respects, of course, to elders, both past and present. Can I ask everybody here, please, to turn your phone off or at least on silent for the duration of tonight's meeting. This meeting is being live streamed via the City's YouTube channel, and council meetings are public meetings you provide shall be recorded and may be publicly accessible. And the council chambers are not a parliament. Parliamentary privilege obviously does not apply. Elected members and staff risk being held personally liable if their comments are found to be defamatory or in breach of any duty of confidentiality. And statements made during council meetings are solely those of the person making them. Nothing expressed at a council meeting can be attributed to the city unless it is adopted by a resolution of council. Elected members and employees must disclose any financial proximity or partiality interest that they may have in an item on the agenda, and declare the interest at the commencement of the meeting or at the very latest when the item is about to be discussed. Financial proximity and impartiality interests are to be disclosed in accordance with the provisions of the Local Government Act. Elected members disclosing a financial or proximity interest must not participate in that part of the briefing relating to their interest and must leave the meeting for the duration of the item. The confirmed meeting minutes of a council meeting are the official record of that council meeting. Verbatim minutes are not required. Nevertheless, the city does publish a full recording of each meeting. And recording of council meetings must not be copied, republished or reproduced without the City of Canning's express permission. Item 2, attendance this evening. Apologies, there are none. Thank you, councillors. Approved leave of absence. Councillor Parkinson has had approved leave of absence granted to him for the period extending to the 14th of October 2024. Disclosures of interest at item 3. CEO, have we had any disclosures?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I've received two declarations for tonight's meeting. In relation to item 3.1, declarations of financial interest, I have declared an interest in item CC 018-24 and CC 019-24. For the purpose of the record, it's from Michael Littleton, who is the Chief Executive Officer. The item details are in relation to the CEO Performance and Salary Review 2023-24 and the CEO Key Performance Indicators for 24-25. The nature of the association is I am employed as the Chief Executive Officer and I am the subject of these reports. I would also declare that as the CEO, I have had no involvement in the preparation of the reports other than to review the proposed 24-25 KPIs attached to item CC 002-24. Or should that be CC 019 of 24? Sorry, guys. In relation to item 3.2, declarations of impartiality, I've received a declaration from Councillor Kunza in relation to item CC 017-24. The item details are proposed lease renewal, the spiritual assembly of the Baha'is of Canning, lot 110, number 20, Aldam, Crescent, Shelley. The nature of Councillor Kunza's association is he has had discussions with members of the Spiritual Assembly of Baha'is of Canning regarding the facility, their future plans and lease situation, including meetings with staff of the City of Canning, has declared there is no personal interest in the matter other than being their relevant ward councillor.
Thank you, CEO. And just for the sake of the recording, for the in line with the provisions of the Act in relation to declarations, the CEO won't be joining us for those items as they're discussed in chamber later on in the meeting. Thank you, CEO. Item 4, announcements by the presiding member without discussion. There are none. Reports of delegates without discussion. Does any member wish to table a delegates report? None, thank you. Question time for the public. I have been informed there are no questions to be asked from the public gallery. Thank you. I will not open and close that item. We shall then move on. Questions from the public at item 6.2, I just wanted to make a point. We have had a member of the public has approached the city with an anonymous question. We know who that person is. They wish to remain anonymous. However, under the provisions of the Standing Orders, Clause 4.52, I've made a ruling under the Standing Orders that the question won't be dealt with this evening as part of the formal proceedings of this meeting, as they don't meet the requirements in relation to the requirement at the meeting for those people wishing to ask a question to actually state their name and address. So the city will provide an answer, but I don't propose to read the question to the meeting. Thank you. We shall move then to item 7, confirmation of minutes. At item 7, the recommendation, councillors, is on screen. It also appears on page 5 of tonight's agenda. It relates to the confirmation of minutes from the ordinary council meeting held back on the 23rd of July 2024. Can I have a mover, please, for that item? Thank you, Councillor Secon, and the seconder would be Councillor Kunza. Thank you. We shall put that item to the vote.
The motion to confirm OCM minutes from July has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. The matter has been carried. We move to item 8, the receiving of petitions, presentations and deputations. At item 8.1, there are no petitions. At item 8.2, there are no presentations. At 8.3, there are no deputations this evening. At item 9, applications for leave of absence, none have been received. At item 10, questions by members of which due notice has been given. Without discussion, there are none. At item 11, items brought forward for the convenience of those in the public gallery. There have been no applications. There are none being brought forward. Reports of committee meetings. The reports from the CEO Performance and Salary Review Committee from the 12th and 15th of August 2024 are listed under the confidential section of page 116 of tonight's agenda. Item 13, the first reports of this evening are from the Directorate of the CEO, Michael Littleton, the Office of the CEO, the first of those being item 13.1, OC007 of 24. The title of the report, Western Australian Local Government Association, in brackets WALGA, 2024 Annual General Meeting, City of Canning Voting Delegates. The Office's recommendation is on screen. It also appears on page 7 of tonight's agenda. Councillors, we already have nominated myself and Deputy Mayor Spencer Teo as the voting delegates. We will both be in attendance already at the convention. The city is asking if anyone would like to be a proxy. We don't need a proxy. If you prefer not to be a proxy, that's all right as well. We will move on. But if anyone would like to submit their name forward as a proxy for the day, we certainly would entertain to take it. Does anyone want to put their name forward as a proxy? No, thank you. Then we shall move to the recommendation. There's a composite recommendation here, and that would be that Council nominate elected members Mayor Hall and Deputy Mayor Spencer Teo as voting delegates for the Western Australian Local Government Association 2024 Annual General Meeting to be held on Wednesday the 9th of October at the Convention and Exhibition Centre, and that will be the motion that I will put, and I would ask for a mover please from the floor. Deputy Mayor, thank you. Sorry, you'll be the seconder. I've put the motion. I have nothing more to add, other than I look forward to attending the convention and taking my position as a voting delegate. Deputy Mayor, anything to add?
No, nothing to add. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Anyone want to speak for or against the item before we put it to the vote? Thank you, councillors. We'll put that item to the vote.
Motion OC00724 has been carried with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. At item 13.2, the Directorate of Ms Lorraine Driscoll, the Director of Corporate and Commercial. It's CC013 of 24, the report title, Renewal of Lease, Weight Watchers Federation of WA, located at 40 Edgeware Street in Lynwood. The officer's recommendation is on screen. Thank you, Governance. It also appears on page 12 of tonight's agenda. Can I have a mover, please, for that item? Thank you, Councillor Bain. A seconder. Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Bain.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I support the officer's recommendation and the continuation of the lease with the Weight Watchers Federation for a further 3 years. Note that they've been there for roughly 16 years now, so it's good to see, and hopefully we'll be able to find them another home before the lease expires. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Page, you were the seconder. Have you got anything you'd like to add? Nothing at all. Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. We'll put the item to the vote.
Motion CC 01324 has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
The next item on tonight's agenda is CC 015 of 24, the title of the report being Budget Review as at 31 July 2024 to adopt projects carried forward from 2023-2024. Councillors, an absolute majority is required for this item. The recommendation is on screen. It also appears on page 20 of tonight's agenda. Can I have a mover, please, from the floor? A mover. Councillor Kunza, thank you very much. A seconder. Deputy Mayor, thank you. Councillor Kunza.
I don't have anything to add. I just have a question through you, Mr Mayor. With respect to last year's budget, we had funding to install a community barbecue at Adenia Park in Riverton. That's not listed in the carry forward projects. I'm just wondering, is that still occurring?
Mr Stewart, are you able to answer that question?
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor. I believe there is a line item that I can't see in front of me where we've consolidated some of the street park furniture, but I'd be happy to sort of go through that with you outside of this meeting.
So you'll take the item on notice?
Correct, yeah.
Yep. We'll get back to you with an answer on that one. Councillor, anything else? Thank you, councillors. Deputy Mayor, did you want to add anything?
Nothing to add, thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Councillor Hearn, thank you.
I just wanted to make a statement, in my view, in public interest. There are a lot of questions that come across emails as we think of questions throughout the week to the admin, and we get answers, and they don't necessarily come before the AB meetings or the OCM. And I just wanted to state that there has been quite a lot of discussions about the amount of carried forward projects that's going forward, and it is my interpretation of discussions that the CEO is not really satisfied with the level that we are carrying, and we are going to be looking at this going forward. And also whether perhaps there are better ways of reporting our CapEx project in the annual budgets to reflect the works that are actually being delivered in the capital projects each year. So that's my interpretation of the discussions, but I just wanted to put this on the record so that the public understand that there are a lot of discussions and questions that go on as people on the council think of questions and get the answers sent across from the administration.
That's a good point. We do have a lot of briefings, don't we, in the evenings. There's a lot of emails to and from the CEO and executives in relation to queries from councillors. That helps the business of council move forward, and all elected members are copied into those responses, which is good. Thank you for raising it. I appreciate it. Councillors, if anyone else would like to speak, either for or against, if not, we shall put the item to the vote. Thank you, councillors. We'll put the item to the vote.
Motion CC 01524 has been carried by absolute majority with all 10 in favour.
Thank you, Governors. We move to CC 016 of 24, title of the report, Monthly Financial Report for June 2024. The recommendation is on page 38 of tonight's agenda and is also on screen. Can I have a mover, please? Deputy Mayor, thank you. A seconder? Councillor Page, thank you very much. Deputy Mayor.
I support the officer's recommendation. Have nothing to add, thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Page.
Same, I support the officer's recommendation. Nothing to add.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything they wish to add? Thank you. We shall put the item to the vote.
Motion CC 01624 has been carried with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. The next item is CC 017 of 24. It's the proposed lease renewal for the Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of Canning Incorporated, located at Lot 110, which is number 20 Aldam Crescent in Shelley, and noting that Councillor Kunza has made an impartiality declaration in relation to that item and will remain in the room and vote on the item as is required. The officer's recommendation is on screen. Can I have a mover, please, from the floor? Councillor Kunza, thank you. A seconder for that item? Councillor Page, thank you. Councillor Kunza.
Thank you. Look, I support the officer's recommendation. I'm delighted for the Baha'i community of Canning. They've been in our community here for 50 years now. When they first took over this facility back in 2014, the city put out an expression of interest just because the building wasn't up to wasn't in a good situation, and it needed considerable investment. The Baha'i community took it on and invested a lot into it. It fixed a lot of broken windows, invested into bringing up the building is considerably old, and they've wanted to invest more for the last few years, but unfortunately they've been in limbo with their lease situation. And endorsing this lease will give them the certainty they need to invest further into looking after the facility. Some of the actual things that have been done is something we as a local government would do today. And I commend them for actually being proactive in doing it themselves and not asking for assistance. But I know this will mean a lot to them, and I ask for council support. I thank the directors' team for their work in bringing this forward, and I hope that council supports it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Page, you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I support the officer's recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Page. Anyone else have anything they wish to say before we move on? Thank you. Let's put the item to the vote.
Motion CC 017-24 has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. At item 13.3, there are no reports this evening from the Director of Planning and Development. We move to item 13.4. Mr. Nick Stewart is the responsible officer, the Acting Director of Infrastructure and Environment. It's IE 006 of 24, the report title, Outcome of Community Consultation of Dog Exercise Trials at both Judy Pannell Park and Fern Place Park, both locations being in the suburb of Wilson. The officer's recommendation is on screen. It also appears on page 89 of tonight's agenda, and councillors, an absolute majority is required for this item. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Bain. A seconder for this item in Wilson? Councillor Shen, second. Thank you. Councillor Bain.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I support the officer's recommendation, and I believe that it will work to improve the experience and safety of users at Judy Pannell Park, and whilst also not disadvantaging dog owners as well in the area. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Second.
Support the officer's recommendation, and I have nothing to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Did anyone wish to speak against the item? Let's put that to the vote, councillors. Just looking for one more.
Motion IE 006-24 has been carried by absolute majority with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. The next item is IE 014 of 24. The title of the report, Panel of Pre-Qualified Suppliers for Survey Services. The officer's recommendation is on screen. It also appears on page 100 of tonight's agenda. Can I have a mover, please, for the item? Deputy Mayor, thank you. A seconder? Councillor Kunza. Deputy Mayor.
I support the officer's recommendation. I have nothing to add. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Kunza.
Likewise, I support the recommendation and have nothing to add.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against it or ask a question? Thank you, councillors. We shall put the item to the vote.
Motion IE-01424 has been carried with all 10 in favour. Thank you.
Thank you. We move to IE 016 of 24, the report title being the Delivery of Low-Cost Urban Road Safety Project, Carousel Residential Precinct. The officer's recommendation I will read, it's only a short one. The council approves the construction of a raised intersection platform at the intersection of Crawford Street and Grey Street as part of the low-cost urban road safety project for the Carousel precinct. The recommendation is on page 107 of tonight's agenda. It also appears on screen. Can I have a mover, please, for that item? Councillor Bain, thank you. Councillor Page, thank you. You are the seconder. Councillor Bain.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. No, I very much support the officer's recommendation and the installation of traffic calming devices, not only at the intersection of Crawford and Grey, but also at the other identified sites. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Page.
I also support the officer's recommendation and look forward to that intersection safety improving. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone want to speak to the item or speak against it? Thank you, councillors. We shall put the item to the vote.
Motion IEO 16-24 has been carried with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. At item 7.5, the Acting Director of Customer and Community is Mr Sam Davis. Mr Davis, thank you for attending, but there are no reports from your Directorate this evening. At item 14, motions of which previous notice has been given, there are none. At item 15, items of urgent business, similarly, there are none. At item 16, confidential matters, I'd like to thank members of the public for their attendance tonight and ask that they please leave in an orderly fashion the council chambers in order for council to consider a number of confidential matters. Councillor, can I please have a mover and a seconder for us to move into confidential cover? Councillor Page, thank you. I think I saw your hand. Councillor Page is the mover. A seconder, please. Deputy Mayor, thank you. Councillors, can I put that to the vote, please, that we move behind closed doors for the final items of this evening, noting that the CEO is leaving the chamber. Just missing one vote at the moment, councillors.
The motion to go behind closed doors has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Good, thank you very much. Councillors, we're going to move to the first item, which is item 16.1, corporate and commercial. Yeah, actually, good idea. Thanks, fellas. And Governors, I'll just confirm Thank you for those who are still with us at home. The time is now 7:02 p.m. and the meeting has now reopened to the public, and the live streaming of this meeting has recommenced. We have come back from our confidential deliberations. I'd like to read aloud the council decisions that were reached in relation to CC 01824 and CC 019 of 24. And I shall read those to the meeting as I welcome back staff, including our CEO, Michael Littleton. I'll just wait for staff to join us.
Just wondering if I need to pack my bags.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for rejoining us. I'd like to read the outcome of Council's deliberations at item CC 018 of 24, Chief Executive Officer Performance and Salary Review of 2023. 24, the committee recommendation was, and an absolute majority was required. The item was passed unopposed unanimously. The committee's recommendation and the council resolution is that Council recommends that Council has resolved, one, that we accept the performance of the Chief Executive Officer for the period to the 30th of June 2024 meets expectations, and notes that the Mayor will notify the Chief Executive Officer of this assessment in writing, which I undertake to do. In addition to the statutory increase to superannuation with effect from 1st of July 2024, amends the remuneration of the Chief Executive Officer by increasing the salary /cash component by 5.5%, and notes that the Mayor will notify the Chief Executive Officer of this in writing. As mentioned, an absolute majority for that item was required. The matter was passed unanimously by Council. At item CC 019 of 24, Chief Executive Officer Key Performance Indicators for 2024-25, the committee's recommendation, which was resolved unanimously by Council, was that the CEO Performance and Salary Review Committee recommends that Council, 1, approves the Chief Executive Officer Key Performance Indicators developed by the CEO Performance and Salary Review Committee as contained in confidential attachment 2, and item part 2 of that recommendation endorses the Chief Executive Officer's written agreement accepting the key performance indicators as contained in confidential attachment 1 in accordance with clause 16 in brackets 2, in brackets 1, in brackets 2, and in closed brackets 3 of the city's adopted standards for Chief Executive Officer recruitment, performance and termination. And as mentioned, that item was also adopted unanimously by this City of Canning Council. Those are the two matters that were dealt with behind closed doors, and they were the final matters to be dealt with by this council this evening. At item 17, closure, there being no further business, I declare the meeting closed, the time being 7:05 p.m, and I'd like to thank everybody for their attendance and their contribution, including staff. And before I go, Mr. Stewart, this is your final meeting with us? Just as the acting director. Sorry, Councillor Hearn. But just as the acting director, Councillor Bowe will be back for the next meeting. Won't he next week? Is he? Thank you very much for your contribution. Michael, do we have no presentation apparently? But thank you very much for your contribution. It's been a pleasure having you in the room.
Thanks, Amanda.
Okay. Thanks everyone for joining us this evening. The meeting is now officially closed. Thank you. Thank you, guys.